Ai có giọt nè.
Namaste Saigon.
Namaste Saigon.
Hello to all of you out there, wherever you might be. Today is an exciting day. We're going to be talking about some very interesting subjects. I'm pumped. How about you, Sebastian? How are you doing?
I feel fantastic. I can't wait to get this out of my system right now.
Well,
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and I
Really?
can't wait.
I
And
think I know why.
Do you know why?
Yeah, I think I know,
I know
why.
why.
Okay.
Well, why don't you tell me why?
Because today is a very exciting day. We're going to speak about a life-changing subject. Not just for us, but for most likely every single person who has accomplished anything in their lives.
Yes. See, what we're going to talk about today is having a destination in mind. We're not talking about a physical destination, although that's a great metaphor, but we're talking about having a goal set in your mind. Let's see how Sebastian explains it.
Okay, so some people might confuse what we're speaking about destination. We're not talking about where it is that you're gonna go physically in the next hour or in the next trip that you're taking, but it is more about life. It's like a philosophy, really, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it is about having a clear mental picture of what it is that you want to obtain as a result. It can be as well related with your job. It can be related with your family. It can be related with your health. So this is just a concept that can be applied in all the areas of your life.
In many ways, yes.
In so many ways. And this is certainly something that is being underlooked, most likely from people who really wants to do something different in their lives. I believe that when you don't have a clear mental picture of what it is that you want to obtain in life, how do you really expect to be happy when you are in a position where you have everything? What I mean about that is that people don't realize that if they don't know where they want to go, they will never acknowledge when they are already there.
Well, they will never even get
They
there.
won't even know.
I mean, if I book a Grab, the first thing I have to do is put down the destination. If I just get into a Grab car and say, hey, or a taxi and just say, okay, start driving, I'm never going to get anywhere. So before you go on a journey, you need to have a destination. So that's where it all starts. It starts up here. And it might be a goal you have for yourself. Like Seb said, it could be physical, it could be your health, it could be something to do with career, it could be anything to do with your life. But you have to have an idea of where you want to go before you get there. So we're going to tell you a little bit of our own experience with this idea. And hopefully you guys will be able to take something from that.
Yeah, I think that one of the most fascinating things that happened into my life in early age when I started the journey into discovering what it is that I really wanted, I maybe didn't have a clear understanding where I wanted to go, but at least I had the intention to discover where it is that I want to go, right? So many people feel maybe overwhelmed because they don't have a clear understanding of what it is that they want, how much it is that they want to get, or what is their ideal job. And that's completely fine. But in the process of discovering that, before needs to come an intention. And I think that many people don't really have even the intention of discovering what it is that they want for their lives. So I believe that having an intention is the most simple and most fundamental part of the process into discovering where it is that you want to be in life.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, one of the most difficult questions you can ask a person is, what do you want in life? You know, it's
So right.
overwhelming because there are so many
overwhelming.
possibilities and things out there
So many.
that it's such a big question that someone really has to sit down and think about this for a long time. So instead of becoming overwhelmed, you start with something simple. Start with something very small. So, for example, if you really think about it, everything around you, everything started up here as a thought. Whether it's this beautiful creative focus cup, or it's this table, or it's this chair, or it's the shirt that I'm wearing. It started off as a thought in someone's life. Now, we like to talk about movies because we feel that movies relate to life like nothing else.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, as a movie director, okay, tell me how having an intention and a destination plays out into making movies.
If you think about it, every single movie you see started off as an idea in someone's mind. I can tell you from my own example, I came here a few years ago and one of my main intentions was to make a film. I wanted to make a short film here in Vietnam. I wanted to use this as the location, and I also wanted to give myself the challenge of making a film in Vietnamese, even though I didn't know the culture or the language. But I felt that that was such an exciting and interesting challenge that I took that up. I accepted that challenge. So when I got here, I got busy immersing myself in research and trying to really think about and visualize the movie that I wanted to make. The more I thought about it, the more I exposed myself to information, people, ideas. It slowly started to form into this film that I kept on seeing on replay in my mind. And then I started to make it happen in person. I wrote the script. That's the first thing I did. When I wrote the script, I could see it even clearer. Then I started to look for collaborators. I started to look for people that I could hire to fill out the team. I needed a cinematographer. I needed actors. I needed producers. I needed a lot of people. In fact, we had about 25 people on the set once we had our team together. So it started maybe 2 years before the film was actually made. It was just a little idea in my mind. And then little by little by little by little, 2 years later, I was sitting at the screening of this film. We had almost 100 people, and we were sitting there, mostly just friends and families because it was a private screening.
His mom was there as well?
Well, actually, my mom wasn't at the first screening, but she certainly saw the film and liked it. But at the screening, we had everybody that was involved in this process from the beginning, and friends and family, and we were so proud to see something that was once just an idea that we were all talking about, that, hey, we want to make this movie, and we want it to be like this and like this. Wow. 2 years later, it was done. We saw it on the big screen, and it was incredible, the feeling that you actually had this idea, and now it's already made. And I had a chance to travel with it. I traveled all over the world with it. I went to the New Delhi International Film Festival, where it was screened, and it won the prize for best short film, and that was 2016. And it was an incredible feeling to sit there and watch this with hundreds of people in the theater on a big screen, the film that was just an idea in my head. So that's how a film can go from your head to real life. But you can do that with almost anything. I'm sure you've had ideas that you've manifested into reality like that.
As we speak, this is the manifestation of what I had in my mind for such a long time. This is right here, the manifestation of the intention that I had to be able to provide value and to be able to empower people around the world with the message and with the story that I have to share with everybody. So right here, right now, we are into the results of having that intention and having a destination. And one of the most fascinating things is that people go to the movies, right? But people don't really sit down and acknowledge how beautiful it is that creation was first just an idea, and how from the mind, from the thoughts, it came into the real world, and now you're able to express that artwork with other people and make them feel how you envision these people to feel.
Yes.
You know? So tell me about the intention behind elements in movies, such as the background music, right? Such as the behavior of certain actors. What is the intention process of trying to make people feel what you want them to feel when they're watching the film?
Well, I think every film is very different. The director or the writer has a certain intention. Either they want to convey a certain message of hope or inspire people or make people aware of a subject. but it starts with that intention. And then you build a story around the intention, a story that demonstrates that intention. There's films that choose to inspire. Let's say a classic like Rocky.
Rocky Balboa,
Right?
baby.
Rocky Balboa. This is a classic film, 1977. This film won Best Picture. It started off with just the idea of a really third-class boxer who really didn't have much of a goal. He didn't have much of a life or career, but then he got this chance, a chance to fight the heavyweight champion of the world. He didn't feel that, oh no, I can't do that. He felt like, wow, maybe I don't deserve this chance, but I have this chance. I might as well make the best possible, best possible intention to do my best here, and actually maybe not win, but at least put on a good show. And what he did was incredible. He took the champion of the world, he gave him one of the biggest fights of his life, and he didn't win. Spoiler alert, he didn't win. But at the end, he stood toe-to-toe with the champion of the world for the entire fight, 12 rounds. And he gained the respect and admiration of people everywhere. So that's a very inspiring film to watch. And if you really think about it, every film starts off with an intention. I have to admit, these days there are a lot of films that just have an intention to entertain. But I think there are a lot of movies that have a deeper intention. They're usually the smaller films, and they can convey messages, and they can make you feel things that no other art can do. I think films have the power to inspire like nothing else. So when you have a film, whether it's let's say you choose a movie like Rocky. Now, if you listen to the music in Rocky, that's also chosen, and all the sound and the background music is chosen to also inspire. You hear that Rocky theme, and you can't help but get up and start, bobbing and weaving and jumping around, and it just gets you want to work out. You want to go for a run.
Yes.
And if you ever seen Rocky 3 and if you heard the song Eye of the Tiger, wow.
Every time you hear that song.
You can't sit still when you hear that.
Yeah, man, you gotta start running in the movie theater.
Absolutely. I was running around in the theater bothering people, and I was getting in people's way. People were like, hey, sit down, man. I couldn't help it, I was so excited. I think I was at that screening, right?
Yeah, you were.
With you? Yeah. But yeah, a lot of movies, when they choose the intention, then they design the story around it, then they also design the music around the intention of inspiration or motivation. And every scene has a different intention in the movie too. So there are scenes where maybe the hero is a little frightened. So the music behind that will also try to convey a certain mood. But in the end, there is a plan. There is a destination in mind. The directors, the filmmakers, the writers, the actors, everybody knows that this is my end goal. This is what I want people to get at the end of watching this film. I want people to feel inspired. I want people to feel motivated. And that starts at the very beginning, even before they've written the script. It starts off as an idea. And then along the way, all the steps, and you get to that goal of people seeing it and clearly feeling that intention that you want, that feeling, that motivation that you had the intention of conveying to them.
Just think about it. When you go to a movie theater, let's talk about horror movies, right? You're in the screen, and then they start making the intention that they want to scare you, right? That's the intention they have behind.
Absolutely.
They want to make you feel scared. So then they start going into this mysterious alleyway that you cannot see much of what is happening, and then bam, right? They put this loud music, and they make you feel
loud
scared.
Loud noises, scary music,
right?
Dark places. It's all designed to convey a certain feeling of fear.
But they didn't just choose any soundtrack, right? They didn't just went on the playlist to see, hey, what is available for us, and then let's connect it and then see how people react. No, they had the intention, and after that, they look for the resources to be able to create that intention into actually
reality.
So
So that's how you can. So let's see. How can you apply that to your life? Have you had any situations in your past that you had a goal? It started as an idea, and then you made it come into reality.
100%. So when I left Colombia, then I realized, okay, the world is really big, right? There is so much to explore. Like I didn't really understood how much I wanted to discover and travel until I first left Colombia. Now, when I was in Australia, I started traveling around, and after a few years, when I realized that I wanted to discover more, so then I created an intention for myself of how many countries do I want to visit? Of at least, I think I started with what are the places that I really wish to go. You know, the bucket list. Everybody does their bucket list of usually the places they want to go, the things that they want to do, right? Why is that important? That is important because then you have a clear understanding of what are the places that you need to go. It doesn't matter how you're gonna get there,
So you
but
need
at
to have
least
a little bit of a plan, right?
yeah, the plan comes after, really, right? I do believe that first it starts with the intention of doing something, and then having the clear destination, and then a plan to get there.
Yes.
Okay, so the actions is kind of like the third layer of it. But for me, when I realized, okay, this is the places that I want to go, and then looking backwards now, I realized that I already visited all those places. And that's one of the most meaningful moments of my life. When my mom, when she was in Colombia, well, she's in Colombia, she sent me a picture of all the little pieces of photography that I used to cut from magazines of like luxury landscapes and all these things. I used to cut them and then I used to stick it on the wall to remind myself of, okay, I want to travel.
Like a little vision board.
Yeah, like
right?
a little vision board,
Yeah.
but it was all over my room. And I remember that when she sent me the picture, at that time I was in Thailand and I was sitting down and I opened the picture, and then that's when I realized I visit every single one of those places that I wanted to go for 5 years ago. So I do believe now, and I understand very clearly, the power of having an intention and the power of having a destination. What about yourself? Tell me one experience that we can give to these people to inspire them to start becoming clear in what it is that they want in life.
Back in 2011, I was sitting in Toronto, and I had just read that book, The 4-Hour Workweek, Timothy Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss, very famous.
Yeah, and I got introduced to this exciting idea of being a digital nomad. And that is the idea of being able to work with your laptop anywhere in the world. Maybe sitting on a beach, just logging in, getting your work done, and then just enjoying your life. You know, and that's what this guy had done. This guy in the book, he talked about how he just would travel around the world with his laptop, log in for a few hours, 4 hours a week, basically, and then he would just ride his dirt bike or go to Argentina. He'd be learning the tango there, or he was in China practicing kung fu.
Living the exciting life.
He was living a life, you know, and that really attracted to me because for me in Toronto, basically it was a 9-to-5 living.
Yeah.
And everybody around me was doing the same thing. But I always felt that there was more to life than that. It just wasn't, didn't feel fulfilling to me, you know. Sure, I had money, I was comfortable, I had a nice place to live, I had all of those things that I thought would make me happy, but really it just left me kind of empty. Like every day was the same, you know.
Yeah.
So after reading this book, I was just like, man, I would love to do that, but I didn't know how. I didn't have that real goal or destination in mind. I didn't have a destination. And I understand how many people might not have a destination. It's tough to decide on one destination and go there. It's so overwhelming because you got many choices. But I knew, and I knew one thing. I knew one thing, and that was that I wanted to travel. I wanted to have that kind of a life. So
that's the intention right there, right?
that was my intention. I knew that I wanted to get out of Toronto and travel and see the world and have a life that was different from what I was living. So even though that was a little bit vague, I knew that if I started to follow my intuition and in that type of an intention, I would start to formalize in my mind that perfect destination for myself. So what did I do? I chose a place to travel. I decided, let's go to Asia. Let's go to a few different places there. See how I feel and let just the journey guide me. And little by little, it solidified into where I am right now.
What do you think it will have happened if you didn't have the intention of seeking a life of freedom? What do you think will be?
I can tell you exactly what would have happened. I would still be sitting in my apartment, making a comfortable living, feeling unfulfilled, feeling empty, and not being happy. That's what would have happened.
That's the power of having one intention that can change the course of your life. One little intention.
One intention. That's
has
all
the
it took.
potential to change everything.
Well, let's compare the Jade that would have been right at this moment. It's daytime here in Saigon. It's about 35 degrees outside. It's warm and sunny.
So warm.
And if I was not here, I would be in Toronto, where it's nighttime, of course. But let's just say, even if it was daytime, it would be about minus 25 degrees Celsius. It's pretty damn cold. And I would be very unhappy. Can't go outside in that kind of weather. You can't go outside to go for a walk.
Yeah.
You just sit in your house, you watch TV, you read books, and that's about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'd love to be able to go outside in a t-shirt and, hey, you know what? I didn't wear a coat today. I don't even have a coat.
You've been working out, bro? Have you
I'm glad
working
you
out?
noticed.
Yeah, man.
You noticed that,
You're getting
huh?
big, bro, of course.
Well,
You know
that's
what?
another intention.
That's another intention right there. And you know what? Same for me. If I wouldn't have thought about traveling and explore different places, I most likely will be still in Colombia.
What would you be doing there?
I will be probably in the third or the fourth year of my university degree. And I'm pretty sure at that time I had no clue of what I wanted to study. So I will be probably studying something that I had to choose because I didn't have much time and I needed to choose something.
Yeah, when you choose something, you're there for a good 3-4 years, right?
No, in Colombia it's 5 years, the degrees.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the minimum that you get. So I will be right now doing exactly what other people wanted for my life. But now, because I had an intention of something different, I am living the life that I wanted for myself. And that's powerful, guys.
And recently, our shared intention brought us together. We met here in Saigon, and
that's true.
the way we met, it was incredible. I mean, we both met and realized that we both have very similar outlooks on life. We wanted to help out other people. We wanted to inspire people to do great things with their life. And we then, after talking, realized that we want to create a program like this so that we can bring out a message out to everybody out there.
It is interesting you said that because that's the physical proof that the intentions, even that you come from Toronto, right? I come from Colombia. They align together
Yeah.
in a completely different place. But whatever it is that the journey is going to take you, you're going to start finding yourself aligned with people who has the same intention for life than you do.
Yeah.
It's like magic.
It's like magic. I mean, if I hadn't had that intention, if he hadn't had his intention, we would never have left our cities. We would never have met. We would never be sitting here.
We wouldn't be
talking
right
to
now
you right
talking
now.
to you.
Absolutely. So that's the power of setting an intention. Or we would just be doing what we do every day and just, basically going nowhere.
You know what? Let's think about this. What about the people that I'm pretty sure you know some people who probably goes every day outside of their houses to do things just because they have to do it without even an intention of changing what is currently happening in their lives, right? So tell me, how do you describe these people?
You know, I know a lot of people that just live their life and don't even think about a destination. They don't even think about where they want to be in a few years from now. They just take one day at a time, and you know what? Basically, the day never changes. It's just the same thing every day. They live it for the weekend, they have a little bit of fun, drink a little bit of beer, and then they're back to work on Monday, wait until Friday, do the same thing again.
I used to be in that position as well, right? So what happened is that now that I'm looking backwards, and I feel like you can actually resonate with what I'm going to say, is that when you start looking backwards, that lifestyle that you had without a clear destination or without even having an intention, every week was a copy and paste of the week before.
Yeah. And every day pretty much the same, not very different.
It is just the same.
Yeah. And that's when you feel like you are in a movie like Groundhog Day, where you're just repeating your days every day and nothing changes. And you feel like you're stuck in a cycle. I don't know if you've seen that movie Groundhog Day, but it's an amazing movie about how you can get trapped in a lifestyle and a way of life just that repeats itself, and you just feel like you're going nowhere, like the rat on that wheel.
What does Einstein says about madness, right?
Einstein, yes, that's right.
So he says that madness, really what it is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yep.
Think about that. Think really about that
It's
quote.
a very powerful quote. Insanity is just doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Or you could say it's just going on the rat wheel and expecting to get to somewhere different. It's not going to happen. It just doesn't work that way. So if you want to change where you are, from where you are, and you want to change and get to somewhere different, you actually have to think about it. It starts up here. And then there's a process. Talk about that process, because I remember when we talked about it, you had a clear way of describing it, which was really interesting.
Okay, so what I really believe is that we don't need to have a clear understanding of the destination, okay? So you can feel okay if you don't have it, right? Most people don't, and it's completely normal, you know? But at least I believe that everything starts when you realize that you need to make a decision, right? And that decision is to want something different out of your life.
It starts with that.
It starts with that. It starts with a question. And I think that the most fascinating question that you could ask yourself if you feel that you don't know where you want to go in life is, what do you want out of life? Really? That's a really powerful question, and it's not easy to answer. So when people ask themselves that question, they're going to feel overwhelmed because they don't have the answer. But it's completely normal. You have never asked yourself that question. How do you expect to have the answer for that question? But asking yourself the question without an answer, and asking it to yourself over and over and over again,
The answers will come, right?
the answers start falling into places.
Yes.
Little things start coming into your life.
That helps you answer that question.
So a very amazing guy that I follow, he says that the quality of the questions that you ask to yourself determine the quality of life
Your life, yes.
that you have. So if the only question that you ask yourself every weekend is, where I'm going to go this weekend to drink with my friends, the quality of life that you're going to have is a life with the answer of where is the best party that weekend. And that's all what you're going to get, nothing else.
But if you ask yourself a bigger question, like what do I want out of this life?
Then the answer is going to take you to a different place, right?
Yep.
So that questioning is one of the most important and meaningful things that you can do for yourself. It's not for anybody else, but for yourself. Because when you ask yourself that question, the answers can fulfill your life in ways that you could never imagine. So I do believe that when you start asking that question, and you start realizing that actually what I'm doing is not exactly what I want out of life, right? Then you need to start having an intention. The intention is going to come down to maybe find what it is that you want out of life, or maybe you have a little bit of an understanding of what it is that you want, but you need to seek in detail that thing. You need to become really specific of the destination.
I think it starts off like wide and then it goes more and more focused, right?
And the more focused it is, the more in detail the answer you have, the faster you're going to be able to get there.
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to go to a neighborhood, you can go to that neighborhood, but it won't take you to a particular place. If you say, I want to go to this address, number 34 Tran Phu Avenue, District 5, Saigon.
Then Google Maps is going to tell you
It
the
will take
quickest
you
road.
exactly there.
And it's
Just
going to
like
give
that.
you the quickest road. Right?
Yes.
So that's what you're going to realize in life. That how you're going to get there is going to come after. But first you need to know where it is that you want to go.
Mm-hmm. And I think asking questions is the best way. You got to ask yourself, are you happy with the way your life is now?
Yeah.
Yes? No? Well, if it's no, why not? What would you be happy doing? What kind of people would you be happy having in your life? What kind of a life do you want to have in the future? What kind of people do you want to have around you? You got to ask yourself these questions daily. You get the answers when you ask questions. But if your mind is just numb because you just do the same thing every day and maybe you hate your job, but you just do it anyways because you don't even think about it, well, nothing's going to change.
You know, there's a really famous quote that is in social media, and I'm pretty sure that maybe people have heard about this, and it says that a dream with a specific date, written down with a specific date, it becomes a goal. A goal breaking down into small steps becomes a plan, and a plan with action steps becomes your reality.
I like
And that is 100% true. People need to understand.
A nice way of breaking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts in the mind, then you seek clarity. You need to have an understanding of what it is, what do you want, and where do you want to go. And then you need to take the action steps to be able to obtain that as a truth in your life.
Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of these ideas I've gotten from books that I've read.
Yeah.
Have there been any influential books that you've read that maybe you can recommend?
Actually, yes.
Books, movies?
There's a book that really changed the way that I was setting goals for my life. Have you heard about Simon Sinek?
Yes, Simon Sinek, yes.
Yeah. So he has a book called Start with Why. That's a book.
Not why, but W-H-Y, the question why.
The question why. Start with why. If you guys go and buy the book and you read it, you will understand how powerful it is to really ask yourself questions that are more meaningful than the question that you usually ask yourself. And more than that, understand the reason behind the answers that you have for those questions. So when you want something out of life, you just know where is the destination. But when you understand why you want to get there, that is going to provide you with all the elements that you're going to need to keep yourself inspired, to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself checked and on track of the place that you're going to go. Because it's not anymore about where are you going, but why are you going there? And when the reason is strong enough for your life and is meaningful, there's nothing that is going to stop you from getting in there.
Yeah.
So that's a book that I definitely recommend to anyone. And
you can also watch a lot of video clips on YouTube of Simon Sinek. He talks about this. In fact, he has one of the most famous TED Talks. TED Talks are only 20 minutes long, and it's really worth watching. It'll put things into perspective, and it'll give you a different view on things. 100%. But you have to ask yourself why. Okay, so you want to change your job or you want to do something, but why do you want to do that? What do you think that will do for you? It's a very important question to ask, and you'll be surprised at the answers, because you really need to ask yourself good questions to have a good life.
Higher quality questions.
Higher quality life.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody should definitely write that down.
Yeah. So now I want to talk a little bit about what we are going to continue to do in these podcasts. We have a lot of interesting guests coming up. We're going to talk about some relationships, not just relationships with your girlfriend or your wife or your husband. We're talking about the relationships with the people you have around you.
Everyone.
Because the people around you are going to determine the quality of your life as well. We're going to talk about that idea. We're going to talk about how certain films can also give you inspiration to do different things. You know, you can read books for inspiration, you can watch movies for inspiration, you can listen to music, you can listen to video, a lot of stuff on YouTube that has amazing talks, whether they're TED Talks or they're speeches or all kinds of motivational things. There's just so many things out there that can help you to answer the questions that you might have for yourself. Simple questions like, what do I want out of this life, are so overwhelming. Sometimes you need to listen to other people's answers to get inspired so that you can get your own answers. And these days, there is so much out there that you can listen to that can help you to elevate your consciousness and just to get advice from other people that have been through the same kind of experiences.
Same experiences. Yeah, well, it is very exciting what is about to come in the podcast and the things that we're going to be able to provide to you guys. The concepts, the people, the techniques, the hacks, so you can become the hero of your own movie.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. We're living in a movie. You can choose to be one of the extras, and that's the default situation for most people. Or you can be the hero of your movie. It just takes making that decision.
It's your right.
It's your right to be the hero of your movie.
So it's time for you to claim it back and take ownership of that right that you have to become the hero and the main character of your movie. Because every single one of us is living a very different movie. And every single one of us has the right to be the main character in their own lives, in their own movie.
Not only can you be the hero of your movie, you want to hire a supporting cast that's interesting and propels you and pushes you forward. So you want to make sure that the people around you are good, supporting people. So
100%.
That's
Thank you for the support, Jay. You're very
welcome.
supportive, bro.
So he's the hero of his film, but I am a great supporting cast, I guess.
Looking back, you're the hero of your own movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm a good supporter as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have to decide what kind of people you want in the supporting cast. We're going to talk a little bit more about that idea of living your life as though it's a movie and you're the hero. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next podcast.
And I think that we're really going to need to start bringing more knowledge and awareness to people in the importance of how the people around you influence everything that is happening in your life. And we're going to bring some amazing experiences. We're going to tell stories because of what we have to offer.
Well, you've got a great couple of stories that I can't wait for these guys to listen to.
Yeah.
Because when I heard them, man, that was really interesting. It blew me away.
That.
So I can't wait to hear them again. But I think these guys are going to love it too.
Sure,
so,
bro.
Cheers, brother. Cheers to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Signing off from the podcast today. Hope to see you guys again soon. Namaste Saigon and everyone around the world.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.